Hello, people. My name is Michelle, and welcome to a long-deserved episode of Making It with Michelle. This is my third attempt at filming this video over the past month, so fingers crossed that this does the trick. As you can see, this is raw, unfiltered Michelle Burt. We'll see how it goes. I have a lot to show you. I hope that you have found other Flosstubes to watch because I have not been one of them. I used to think that my life would just have these voids once I finished my degree. Not the case. Somehow I squeezed in all of that in other areas. I don't know. So we're filming on my phone. We're gonna see how this goes because, like I said, last time was a disaster. And so I told my husband, if I can't make it easy and fun, I can't do it anymore. So we're making it easy, filming on my phone, which I've never done before. Hopefully the quality is okay. And let's just dive, let's talk. The quilt behind me is, sorry, there's Lily. The quilt behind me is from a Fig Tree book called Fruit Salad. I finished this last year, I believe. Well, I put the binding on last year, maybe this year. I don't know. And behind me is the boxes of things I never thought you guys would see. So the blanket and then the little cardboard box we keep the dog's toys in. Okay, let's get into stitching. I have a million gazillion things to show you. This is just gonna be mayhem, and I hope you like that. And if you don't, apologies. Okay, first is a start and a finish. This is Strawberry Quilt by Primrose Cottage. I stitched this for June for the Strawberry Moon Sal. This is on 40 count Strawberry Milkshake, I believe, by Grace Notes. And I did similar colors, not exactly the same. And I started and finished it and made it into this cute little pillow. Isn't that sweet? So I've been enjoying that for a few months now. Next, some framing that are long awaited. The first one is I Love More Strong by Blackbird Design. I finished this year. I stitched it on 40 count Straw Flower by Lakeside. It's all the called for colors. I got this framed at the Peanut Gallery in Aubrey, Texas. So they do an amazing job. If you're looking for a framer and you're willing to drive to Aubrey, it's 100% worth it. Denise and Joseph are the best. I love going in there and seeing all the other pieces of needlework that they have framed. So, and somebody had asked me, I brought this to the stitch day after I went and picked it up at Boxcar, if they had painted it, and this beautiful kind of dusty rose color was already a pre-made frame, so it was the perfect fit for this that I Love More Strong. I did personalize with the year my husband and I got married, and then with my my maiden name initials, I guess, and then my husband's initials. And if you know me, I call my husband AB all the time. So I Love More Strong by Blackbird. My first framed Blackbird, I guess. I have finished two other Blackbirds. So anyways, I'm looking forward to hanging this up. I don't know where I'm putting stuff, so apologies. All right, next. Oh, this is Cotton Bird by Plum Street. This is on 40 count Agua Fresca by Grace Notes Fabrics, this lovely dusty blue color. I did some of the called for. I did mostly a conversion. Thank you, Bernadette from Burn Stitches. She got me onto this pattern, and I wanted to stitch it so bad I kitted it up from what I had and went to town. So, and also a perfect frame, blue on blue. I don't know what it is with the blue on blue, because you'll see why. Also framed, all these are framed at the Peanut Gallery. I am trying a new framer, not because anything wrong with the Peanut Gallery, they're just far away from my house, and I'm trying a new one to me. That's right by work, so I can easily go pick it up from them. So stay tuned on that. The next one is one I think I showed finished. This is Saltbox Quilt Sampler by With Thy Needle and Thread. I don't have the original pattern to show you, but I can confidently say it looks nothing like this, except for the pattern, of course. The colors are mine, very different. I stitched this on a 40 count color in cotton. I don't know if it had a name. If you're very curious, I will look it up. Just message me on Instagram or leave a comment. Like I said, picked all color and cotton threads. Mom and I went there in 2024 on our way home from StitchCon, and my husband was ill in April, and so this was the project that I completed while he was under the weather. He's perfectly fine now, but then I had to get it framed. It's beautiful. I have no regrets. I love this so much. The one main change besides all the colors was that White House had a flag, and since mine wasn't super red, white, and blue, I didn't feel like it really went with the pattern, so I just put some churn dashes and a little 9-patch kind of block in there. So I think it turned out good. And of course the color I added most was purple. So yeah, I love it. I think it's beautiful. This is probably not my best color conversion I've ever done, but I just went with it, and at some point just started picking colors. You kind of sometimes feel like you have to do one-to-one conversion, but you don't. You can just put colors wherever you like them. So I had like I said, very fun time stitching this, and it was very therapeutic while, concerned for AB. Okay. Now, my other pride and joys are 2 stitches that I've finished that you haven't seen finished. I was still, I'm sure, knee deep in finishing them. I'll save the last one for the big hurrah. But the next one is Summer Sampler by Blueberry Ridge Design. I stitched this on 40 count. I think it's called Sea Spray by Seraphim, and I stitched it with a color and cotton thread, this coral color. I think it's called Stitch Markers. So I was bad. I did save the alphabet for last, but it was very it was bad because when I was finished, I didn't want to stitch it, but at the same time I did, because I wanted to have this finished and done. Did I say it was on 40 count? Yes, I don't know. But as I'm looking around my house, I love to just walk around my house and just like look at my stitched items and like contemplate the memories that, were had while stitching them or who I stitched them with. And Blueberry Ridge is definitely one of my favorite designers. So anywho, but again, I kind of did this like tone on tone frame. I don't know. I love it. I think it's beautiful. And I'm staring at the spring version of this is on the wall right over there that you all cannot see. And I'm looking forward to hanging this one up there nearby. Okay, friends, the big hurrah. This is not a finale, but the big finale to my frame finishes is American Welcome. So this is, I have to say, I don't know what it was. If it was the border, if it was the 4 houses I had to stitch, if it was all that water fill-in, I literally cannot stop stitching this. I started it May 15th on my birthday, and I finished it June 26th. I had to stitch this. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I know you're all thinking, oh, Michelle, but it's patriotic. Well, I unpatrioticized it. I don't know. I made it what I wanted it to be, and I'm very happy about it. So obviously the biggest change was I took out all of the words. In the water, I put this big whale, which came from Live on Little. A friend of mine had the chart, and I just borrowed it and stitched it up and gave it back. I did add some more fish around in different directions just to kind of add a little something. There's this little buddy right there, Nemo. No, I'm just kidding. And then I took out, there was some over one words underneath, and I took those out as well. And then here I added some stars. I actually took them from Summer Moon, which I don't have the pattern, but I just looked at pictures online. So I just used the yellows that were already in the chart. So they're kind of ghosting a little bit here, but I think they just add texture and kind of fill the space. I stitched this on, I think the last time I didn't know what it was called. This, I got a kit from Hollis Hands Create, and it was 40 count suede by Needle Bling Designs. And I loved the fabric. The fabric was like chef's kiss. So I loved every little stitch of this. So I didn't change a single color. I just took out what I didn't love about the piece and put in things that I did love. The water is an incredible color. It's called Hunter by Color and Cotton. So if you ever need like a actual ocean pristine blue color, that's the one you need to get. I don't know if I did all of the back stitching that she said, especially in this kind of coastal house. I don't know if that's the right terminology. And I definitely didn't do it over here in this one either. I just did what I thought added something to it and didn't necessarily take away my sanity. But like I said, every stitch was a delight. And if you are not from the United States and didn't, love the Americana aspect of it, you literally just delete this flag and it's just a scene by the ocean. So I encourage you to make something your own. And if you need help, I feel like I've gotten a little bit good at this. Just message me or reach out and I'm happy to help. You can make a cross-stitch piece that's 90% of perfection that you will fit with your life and your house and what you like to stitch, and 10% that's not, you can make it your own 100%. So anyways, American welcome. Let's just a moment of silence. And the frame is perfect. I'm sorry. This was, I tend to not, I go for simpler frames. This is not super ornate or anything, but this little gold fleck, I don't know, just spoke to me. I love it. So, American Welcome by Plum Tree Samplers. I probably never said that either. Okay. So, those are my prides and joys. So, let's look at some other finishes that I've had. I did do Christmas in July for about a week. I went on a few trips this summer. One was to Missouri Star Quilt Company. I went on a quilt retreat with my mom and Lisa, Black Coffee and Grits, my best friend from graduate school named Allie. She lives in Arizona. And then my mom's best friend from college named Carrie. And the five of us had quite the time together. And I hadn't done a quilt retreat like that in a really long time, as in there was classes that we could take, there was planned activities, instead of kind of just a free-for-all quilt retreat that I typically go on. I won't go into too much, but anyway, so we went on that. I went to a retreat at Boxcar that we did film a Flosstube because it was a retreat, a private retreat, and there was a lot of Flosstubers there. It was fun to do, and I had a great time seeing my very close stitching friends and friends in general, and some that I hadn't seen in a long time, and so it was a treat. I'll post a link down that below if you haven't seen it already on a couple other more prominent Flosstubers videos. But anyways, one stitch that I'm proud that I've completed was All Is Calm by The Proper Stitcher. So I stitched this on 40 count sugar cookie bicolor and cotton, and I stitched with all the called for colors. The only thing I didn't do was there was another border kind of underneath this in like an ecru color. I think it was an ecru, and I didn't stitch it. I didn't think it wasn't doing much for me. So, and I'm glad the lighting is a way that you can see because this is a really light colored fabric, and I can see the snowflakes really well. But like if I hold it back here, it's harder to see, but I'm glad you guys can see it when I hold it up close. So, and I got this at a retreat at Boxcar, my very first cross stitch retreat. Thank you, Rita, if you watch these videos. So I'm happy to have that done and completed. Another journey I went on this summer was I went to Vegas. My husband was in a wedding for a childhood friend of his. And sorry, let me move stuff around a little bit. And so while I was there, Aaron went on some, I don't know, groomsman outing or something. And I was like, okay, bye. And so I went to Stitcher's Paradise in Las Vegas, which was a great shop. And one thing they had that I have always wanted to stitch, and again, Bernadette, this is because of you, she had finished the red bird sampler, which I've loved, but the red is not my color. And so while I was there, I noticed that they had all the belle soie. So I'm over there thinking to myself, how can I make this a red bird sampler without it actually being red? I know. So I affectionately call this the red raspberry bird sampler, as this is my color palette. See if I can hold that up. This very dark pink was my main color, and it was called Raspberry by Belle Soie. Then I had this pink one, I forget what it's called, pink, Pom Pom Pink. It's kind of the lighter ones. I did this bright in your face aqua called Aqua Velvet. Yeah. And then these I had already had in my, well, these two I had already had in my stash from other projects. And so I picked two new greens. Lisa let me borrow this Tropical Paradise. Sorry, Lisa, I guess I better get that back to you. And this is my color palette. So I stitched this on Coffee Stain by Cedar River Linen, so a little bit darker. And here is my finish. And I pretty much couldn't put this down. The silks were, this is like more true to the color of the fabric, but so you can see it up close. It gives off tropical vibes for sure. I loved stitching this. I didn't really want to put it, I don't think I did put it down really. My favorite was these baskets and the flowers in them. I just enjoyed, I loved every stitch. So again, maybe another prime example of making something your own to make you want to stitch it. And of course the silks were incredible to stitch with. Amazing. So there's that. Sorry, Lisa. Oh, well, as Flosstube as my witness, here's this Tropical Paradise. Anywho. All right. I have one more finish. Okay. So back on my Christmas in July journey, what I stitched on primarily at the retreat was Cocoa Quaker by Primrose Cottage. And I did finish it at the retreat. It took all 3 days. I already had it started. I don't know. There was a ton of stitching in this tiny little thing. So I stitched this on 40 count Cuppa Mocha by Mrs. Crescent Crown, who I found out like was the original dyer, original owner of Classic Colorworks, Crescent Colors. And so she started stitching. She started making, dyeing fabric, and I love her fabric. Unfortunately, it doesn't, I don't think she's dyeing anymore, but this is like gold to me. So this is Cup of Mocha. I did not stitch it with the called for colors. I had like 2 silks and 2, what's the word? Not Ruby Star. Roxy Floss. And just stitched it up. Love it. So I'm not making it into a pillow. I bought this board. This like little, I don't know what it's called besides a board. From Just Crossing Stitches on Etsy. And here's the little bag. I obviously demolished the bag. But it came with these 2 mat boards already cut, which I thought was amazing, and I did not know was coming. So it's all in here ready to be assembled. Sometimes, as we have found out, I get into a mode or a mood. And so I just finish stuff because I want them off my cutting mat. So those are all my finishes. I have another fully finished, but it was a pillow. Maybe I'll show it next time. I don't know. I didn't think it was really worth it. Okay, let's talk about a million other things. How about that? First up is my 1 strand a day. The 1 strand a day didn't get tossed out the window, but like I said, I went on all those trips. I recently went on a cruise, and we will talk more about that with this next project after the 1 strand a day. And so I'm like kind of doing catch up. Not that I'm like, check marking it off or whatever, but the last few days I've put in like 2 strands a day. One day I put in like 5 strands or whatever to just like, give myself a little extra credit. So I'm sorry. This is what happens. This is Modern Folk Embroidery, Love Thy Neighbor. I started this a few years ago, and Lisa and I are patting ourselves on the back. We've, like I said, really stuck with it. I'm doing a purple on purple Quaker. It's on 40 count hydrangea by Fiber on a Whim, ? And I'm stitching it with Grape Soda by Roxy Floss. So here's the project. Sorry. As you can see, I've made it all the way across the top and the bottom, and I've been working on this motif right here. So I kind of am going back up to the top and working my way down. So the last time you saw it, I don't think I had that bottom left motif done. But now I do, and my goal is to finish this by the end of the year. And like last year, I'm sorry, here's the Grape Soda. Last year I did like this thing where I kind of picked a project and worked on it for 12 hours to see if I could finish it. And so if this is not done by the last day of the year, this will be my kind of 12-hour project to see if I can finish it. And then I will pick probably, I think I already know which Quaker I'm going to pick for next year what's the word? Monochromatic piece. So there's that. I usually keep a certain bit of floss with this one, and I don't know if it just fell back in the bag. Okay. Hold your horses here, people. Please be sitting down, especially if you're my good friend of mine who knows the project that's been the bane of my existence. She's large. She's not in charge anymore. I'm in charge. You haven't seen her on this channel in quite some time. She is the Quilted Witch. Lisa and I last year traded witch projects, and Lisa worked on her, and thank you, Lisa, for doing that and doing as many stitches as you did, so that way I didn't have to do all those stitches. So I'm kind of like working my way through my whip list, and I want some things off the list. Like I want them done. Not that I don't love them, but I want them done off the list so that way they're not a part of my stitching life anymore. One of those is this lovely witch who has another name who I won't say out loud. So I'm stitching, so part of the main reason is that it's on 32 count with 2 strands, and I don't like stitching with 2 strands. I don't have anything against people that do. I love that for you. My bestie Lisa, she loves it. And I almost threw this at her and ran away. I did actually, I did give her a project that I was like, it's too far gone to just like throw it in the garbage, but it's not far enough to where I'm like, yes, I will finish that one day. And so I just, one day I brought it over to her house and said, here you go, this is yours now. So here she is in all of her glory. So I have made, it seems like a ton, and yet feels like I have a million miles to go. So Lisa primarily, sorry, let me clip this a little bit differently. Lisa, I think primarily, she did some work in the skirt. She went up here and did some work up here as well. So when I went on this cruise, this was the only, well, I brought 2 projects, which was another project I need to work on. Didn't even touch it, except to show my sister what it looked like. This was the only project that I brought with. And what I accomplished was, I did one of the colors in every single block in the skirt. So this is her hippie dippy skirt. And so now I'm working on like the other color in the skirt and the other color of the blocks of the skirt. So I have I'm not done with the skirt, but I'm like inching my way there. So then what I have left is obviously I have to finish her like dress, and then she's like holding a needle, and then there's like some other stars. So, and I need to finish the broom. And obviously she has 1 foot. So she is my main focus. She's the project that if I'm stitching, I'm working on her, or my 1 strand a day project. And for some reason, I like this. Like, I don't like jumping around. That's like, I've already sat down. I've already picked out my project. There's 5,000 colors in this. I already have to pick what color I'm working on. I have to pick what like spot I'm working in, which at the end of my day, the last thing I want to do is make 57 decisions, which is why I love a monochromatic, because it's one less decision I have to make. So having 1 project out, or maybe 2 that I'm, kind of, if I get tired of this, I'll work on that. And I know the more I work on this, the closer it gets to being done, is extremely motivating for me. So this little she doesn't have a name besides the name I can't say on Flosstube. But she's getting there. This is on a 32 count. I can't remember the name. It's like Aslan, or there was like another one that started with an A from Atomic Ranch. Like I said, if you want to know, just ask. I'll find out. So a major progress, in my opinion, has been made. And I'm looking forward to all the stitching being done and her being completed. Maybe by the end I'll love her. But she's pretty darn cute, which is why I wanted to stitch her to begin with. I do have the quilted snowman, but I like to set rules for myself, and sometimes I break them, and this one I have not. And I have not started the quilted snowman until I finish this little witch gal. So that is my current progress. And I think sometimes, like, for those of you that are Flosstubers understand, you have like 1 project that you've worked on, and it's like, that's all you have to show for your efforts, So, this is my bag that I made. Mom made this little witch hat. Isn't that cute? And this is like adapted from a Buy Any project pattern with this crazy zipper. I know. Okay. Don't worry. There's other things to show you. Do you want to look at this stuff in my bag really fast? On the way home from Missouri Star, we stopped at Color and Cotton, me, my mom, and Lisa. We drove up there and bought lots of things. Anyway, so we went to the new Color and Cotton store, which is incredible and amazing times 1,000. And if you message me and say, hey, Would you like to meet me there, Michelle? I will be there in a heartbeat. The store is incredible. And now I think I know some people that live in St. Louis, so, or near St. Louis, Jamie. Anyways, so I brought 2 projects to do color conversions on. And the first one, to no one's surprise, maybe is a plum street. Well, they're both plum streets. It's called This Joy's Season. And here is my conversion. It's true. I'm doing the house red. I know. Red has its place, and that place is at Christmas. So it's a nice conversion. The red I picked for the house is this Golden Gate color. It's red, but the called for is cayenne, which was the color house of All Is Calm. And so this is maybe a little bit slightly pinkier red. So I'm looking forward to stitching that. And as I'm kind of whittling down some of my whips, some of my languishing semi-larger whips, I'm giving myself permission to do some starts. Now, we'll have a laugh here in a minute. The other one that I did a little bit of a conversion on, I didn't convert the DMC, was My Early Days by Plum Street. I love this one. My friend Alex kind of turned me onto it, and so I just did some of the main colors I did a conversion on, like the 2 blues and the white, and so I think are really beautiful. And once I get more than 1 DMC in here, I will get to going on that. So I'm sorry, Laurel, if you want to stitch one of these together, just let me know. Okay, and a bit of a surprise to all parties involved is another Plum Street. I kitted up, not with color and cotton, but is Happy Day, or as I like to call it, Hoppy Day. This was a exclusive to the Sampler Guild of the Rockies. And I was at that stitch day at Boxcar, and somebody was stitching this, and I had already liked it. Like, I watched Sweetwater Stitcher, and she stitched it because she's a guild member, and I think she stitched it as soon as she got it. And I liked it then, but seeing it in person was incredible. And so I have all the colors. There's a blue, like Paulette has 2 other color, not that the colors are different of the threads, but she has like a digital mock-up of it on a blue and like a greeny color. And I, hard to believe, loved it on the blue. So I'm trying to find the perfect blue. I probably already have it in my stash. So stay tuned on this Start One Day. And I already decided I might put Hoppy Day just because I don't know. And the flag is getting out of there. But I know I have that pretty kitted up. Okay, some other tales of woe. I have a UFO to share with you. It's been a long time coming, and it might not surprise anyone. This is Memories of the Past, which was a birthday start for me. But 2 problems. I love the chart. I love it with all my heart. So I love that big purple border. And Bernadette, I think, just bought this pattern. So obviously if she starts it, all bets are off. But 2 problems with this for me personally. The first is that it is on 46 count, which I can see 46 count. I don't need a magnifier. I really don't have to squint or strain my eyes. And it's on this lovely piece of fabric from Atomic Ranch, which would make it beautiful. But the thing with 46 count is I cannot find a needle that I'm comfortable using, that I can use the sewing method on it with, that I don't hate myself to thread every time I have to change colors, which is fairly often on this project. I'm not doing it. And I picked 46 count because I only needed to buy a fat quarter. Well, who the hell cares, Michelle? So I'm gonna restart it. on 40 count, which is my sweet spot. I'll pick another beautiful piece of fabric. I have one fat half in my collection, so maybe that will be the ticket. The other thing is I do not like spooled silk. The silk itself is fine. That isn't a problem. I do not like my silk on spools. Remember we talked about that decision-making idea? This is literally one more step. I feel like I have to hunt and peck for the color that I need. And I have to figure out how long to cut the freaking length. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So, and you might be thinking, oh, Michelle, there's other ways to do this. I bought this beautiful thing from the attic, which was not cheap, but I thought this would just change my life. It changed it, not for the better. So, I'll just put it out there. Bernadette, if you want to buy these from me, or somebody wants to buy these silks from me, I will come up with a very decent price and send them your way, because I have no interest in ever stitching with them in my lifetime. So that's my tale of woe. That's my UFO. So I'll pull a Katie. I'll put this on a project bag or something, and it'll be beautiful. And these silks will go to a home that someone will love them and use them and stitch with them. I am just not that person. So, memories of the past. It will get a restart. It's off the list. It's off the whip list. And I will stitch it one day. I will change all of these words. I will put a house there. And because that's not even the deterrent at this point. Like, at some point it will be, obviously, because that's a big chunk of the chart. But I don't want to stitch this. And I love this chart. So, putting it out there for the universe. I'm sorry, you're getting 47 call out here, Bernadette. If you can watch this video. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? Here's some other whips or some starts. So June, I almost said July 4th. June -1. June 6th is my wedding anniversary. My husband and I celebrated 12 years this year. And we were spending the day together, and I was like, hey, I have 2 projects. Will you pick one for me to stitch? And he was like, these are my only 2 options. I said yes. So he picked one, bless him. And he picked Sweetheart by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I think I showed this kitted up on my last video. Lisa and maybe Katie was there. They helped me pick a floss. So I am stitching it on 40 count pistachio, which is the called for, which ever since Lisa stitched her autumn posy on pistachio, I have wanted to get some. And so I bought some at the Silver Needle. And where's the floss? I'm using this Bestitch Me silk called Pearl. I'll clip that up there so you can see it too. And it's just a light pink. So here's my tiny little progress. I think I stitched on it for 2 days. And then I went back to American Welcome, guaranteed. And so I kind of have outlined it here so that way I could cut my fabric because the piece of fabric was pretty big. So like I said, love a monochromatic, love a weird little, not weird, but love a not brown fabric to stitch on. So, and I love stitching with silk. I was in the Bestitch Me Silk of the Month Club for a little bit. So this was, I'm sure, one of those that I got. So I'll get back to it. I tend to stitch like one thing in February. So this will probably be it if I had to guess. I also like to stitch the Collector's Heart. I've stitched that the last few years. This is my bag. It's some Bonnet Sue by My So Quilty Life. Look at that perfect little zipper charm. I think I showed this last time, but I guess you can see it again. Okay. The next thing another thing I worked on was Blackberry House by Plum Street Samplers. So you can see we're a Plum Street family here. I think I started this after I defended my dissertation, so it was in April sometime. And I really expected me to like clip onto this and not let it hold me back and get obsessed. I haven't gotten obsessed with it yet, for no good reason. There's just other things that I wanted to stitch, but I have made progress on it. I'm stitching it on, I think this is Little Bunny by XG Designs, a 40 count. I'm using all the called for colors. I kitted this up last year, at Tinsmith's Wife with Brooke and Lisa. And here's my progress. So I have made a little bit of progress. I stitched this whole birdhouse. I worked on these little blackberries and the actual blackberries, and I want to cut my fabric, so I'm probably going to go all the way across now on that top border. So I had a different fabric originally picked out, and then somebody stitched it on Instagram and immediately went and changed it. And XJU is a dream to stitch on. Okay. Here's my bag. Guess I can zip this up now. I don't remember what this is. A ruby star. Okay, and to finish off my Christmas in July, so at the retreat, I worked on Cocoa Quaker. Then I came home and basically finished All Is Calm, which every once in a while I would pick that up. So there was a few sporadic days I probably didn't even show it. It probably wasn't even worthwhile. And then I still had like 2 days left in July. And so I was like gonna be #mature and keep stitching Christmas. So this is what I picked up, which isn't super Christmas. So I'm stitching the sampler. I'm stitching it with the called for NPI silks I got from my friend Olivia at Hillside Rickery. I haven't ordered anything from her, so she hasn't sent a note saying, hey, Michelle, make a Flosstube. I will rectify that, Olivia. And I'm stitching it on, I'm doing the sampler like I said. I'm stitching it on a little bit pinkier fabric. This is on, it's like wheat or something, which is pretty yellow fabric. And mine is on another Miss Crescent Crown called Cream Puff. And I've stitched a few other things on Cream Puff. So, like the most Christmas thing about this is the words at the top that say Merry Christmas. So I totally forgot how much progress. I actually made a very significant amount of progress on this. Wow, I'm patting myself on the back over here. Okay, I guess I'll just let all that fabric hang down. Looky here. Yes, Michelle, you have done a lot. I finished this motif, I did this entire motif, and I did this entire motif. So please be amazed by my progress. Did I skip a motif here? Yes. Yes, I did, my friends, because I didn't want to stitch it. I did a little stitching meetup with Katie, and I was working on this, and I showed her this one, and I said, there's a reason I'm not stitching that one right now, because it looks hard. My mind has to like wrap around like my stitch path, and once I do that, it's perfectly fine. I have no problems, but I just haven't put forth the effort to do it on that part yet, so. And I really wanted to stitch that swan and fill it in. I know. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you want to stitch this now? Oh. I do have its kind of like companion. It's like Quaker House Christmas sampler, something. And so yes, I do want to stitch that. I would like to stitch it on a similar colored fabric, or like kind of like they'll go together, but I am going to change some of the colors because the colors are the exact same, which are beautiful and I love them. But I don't, like from far away, I talked to Katie about this and I think she agreed. They would look exactly alike. even though the motifs are different, like the colors are put in different spots, like I want them to go together, but not be identical, if that makes sense. So I don't, in my mind, it makes sense. So let me pull up the pattern again. So this is the motif that I skipped. It's this like weird tree thing. And so I've done everything, excluding that, all the way down to here, except for these trees. So like, I feel like I'm halfway, especially since this is the only motif that is literal full coverage. So I might get, what do they say? A bee in my bonnet? I don't know. And bug in my ear. I might get something in me and I will just pick this up and go ham on it this year. I don't know. I'm not promising anything, let me be clear. But sometimes that's just how it goes, especially now that I've totally forgotten all about this. And here's my little bag. It's just a little Lori Holt fabric bag and this little cute zipper tag. So, okay, and my most recent finish is a start and a finish again. I stitched Pip. Somehow this got brought up at retreat, and I probably will blame Katie. And she was like, oh, I want to start this. And I was like, oh, I have that all kitted up. And then she was like, let's start it. And I said, it's at my house and I'm not going back for that. So anyways, a few days later, maybe like a week later, because then Melissa started it and Trish and Joellen, a whole group of us were like, we're stitching this. So I already had her all kitted up. It was at the beginning of August, which now we're like halfway through, and happy birthday, Mom, yesterday. It's August 16th. I've never said that. I guaranteed it. Yesterday is my mom's birthday. She's the best. So this is stitched on a 40 count Hometown Fibers fabric called Mystery. So I guess it was just kind of a one-off. And I stitched it with all the called for colors with, you'll notice, some exceptions. So here is my little Pip. I'm gonna turn the ring light on, so guard your corneas here. My glasses have glare, so, but the fabric is dark. Okay, so here's Miss Pip. I was giving her a backstory one day. Her name is Pauline, but her friends call her Pip. She is a city hedgehog, gals. City hedgehog, although her feet are bougie and those are her Birks. Her mom runs a strawberry farm, and so she comes home on the weekends, obviously, to help. But notice she doesn't have those, I looked them up the other day. Spines, I think they're called. I can't remember. Because she's a city gal. And that's what the rustic country bumpkins do. And so she's got her slicked back hair. She's got her Birks on. She bedazzled her dress. You know, she likes a hot pink moment. So this is, like I said, Pauline, but all of her friends who are us call her Pip. And she literally took me 2.5 days to stitch. So I love her. Okay, let me turn this light off now. Sorry. So she's adorable. No idea how I'm going to finish her, when I'm going to finish her. I do want to stitch the needle book, so I'm kind of keeping this all together still in my little strawberry bag from Painted Leaf Co. So, okay, well, it's been 49 minutes. I don't know if you want to see more stuff. Let me show you a bag I made. I made some other bags, but I gave them away. This is another All the Things tote, which is my go-to bag tote pattern. Sorry, there's dog hair all over the bottom of it. I made this on our retreat at Missouri Star. I wanted to make it before, but that didn't happen. And Mom, Geek Plus Quilting, quilted the fabric. And these are Tulip Pink. Are there, what's that ribbon company? Renaissance Ribbon or something? But it's this wavy. I think they go along with Tulip Pink. Tulip Pink is somehow involved. I don't know. Anyways, this is my bag that I made. So I love it. Okay, do you want to see some other whips? Because it is hot as hell. Let me be clear. I saw Red Velvet Quilts posted something. It said the surface of the sun. And that is exactly what it feels like. On our cruise, luckily, it was not that hot. We did 2 excursions, my sister and I. One was we went and hiked the Mayan ruins, which does sound hot, but it rained on us. And so it felt incredibly amazing to get rained on. Now, did I love being wet? No. But was it cool? Yes, it was. The other one we did was scuba diving, which you're in the water in the ocean and it feels amazing. So, like, it was best case scenario. So this shirt, I'm sorry, I haven't mentioned my shirt. I don't know where it came from. My sister gave it to me. She got it at a quilt show. But I was wearing clothes that I normally sleep in and figured I would make myself 1% more presentable and put in clothes I would wear outside the house. Sorry. Raw unfiltered Michelle. Remember, you get what you get. Shall we talk about this bag? This I got at a shop in Kansas City called Quilter's Bliss, which if you live in the Kansas City area or anywhere near there and you like modern fabric and Lori Holt fabric, zip there. Stop this video. Go there. Go there. I think her name's Jenny. Tell her Michelle sent you. No, I'm just kidding. She was a delight. Her shop is amazing. I thought priced very reasonably. Like some stores you go to and you can tell that they mark it up a little bit more than what is suggested by the, fabric companies, but I thought everything was reasonably priced. And fabric is getting more expensive, let's be perfectly clear. And that's just the way of the world. Okay, these are all my fall whips. So let me tell you a story. I was talking to Lisa, Black Coffee and Grits, and I was like, I really feel like I don't have that many fall whips. She was like, really? And I was like, yeah, like I'm looking at this, like my other book that has most of my whips written down on them. And I was like, yeah, I have like 3. And then I turned the page and 3 turned into what feels like 1,000,000. So the truth came out. So one fall whip has gone to live with Lisa and be her whip now. And the rest I have right here in my little Lori Holt bag. So I thought it might be fun to go through them, talk about them, dream about them. Even though I already messaged Bernadette last night because she on her video talked about autumn moon, and I have that and I will stitch that. And I was like, hey, autumn moon start, ? So anyways, let's look at the first one, which I didn't show on the last video because I completely forgot about it. So my friends, this is a measly little wimpy start on Grace Doth Abound. Do I love this? Am I obsessed with this? Laurel? I hope if you would like to stitch this with me, let me know because it's practically a new start. Guess I need my board back. I'm stitching this on 40 count old stationery by somebody. Is that Seraphim? I think so. Oh boy, this is just, like I said, it's practically a new start. I think I worked on this literally one day at Lisa's house when we started it together. So this is pretty sad. Don't. I know. Depressing. So yeah, there's that little whip, which practically doesn't even count. I do have some other patterns in here. I don't have many of the flosses, but these are like dreams. This one says goodbye fall. It is seriously perfect. There's a fat bird. There's a turkey, which for my turkey lovers, there you go. There's acorns. The stitching, I hate to say it doesn't look terrible, but it's huge because there's a lot of space. And I picked this green fabric, limestone, because to me the fabric looks green. It's not. It's on aspen, ? Maybe that is green. It kind of sounds green. And I have some of the flosses, as you saw. Another one that I must stitch, thank you Caitlin, a stitch for mom, is Goody Grimwood. And I think Bernadette stitched this as well. So whatever they do, I'm doing apparently. I have 0 flosses, but I already picked out a fabric. This little beauty is called Alchemy. Perfection? I do believe so. May I change my mind when I pick out those 2 flosses per chance? Not my problem today though. And then the last one I must stitch one day is this little cutie patootie called Where the Bittersweet Blooms. Doesn't that look like it'll take like a long weekend? Like if I had a fall break, which I don't, I would stitch this and I would make a decent dent in it. It's only quote unquote 74 by 97. And I picked out this lovely piece of Lakeside Linens 40 count Luna. This is like little golden operation. I thought it looked literally exactly like the picture, which is stitched on apple brown bindi. So these are all living together in this bag. Did I forget they existed? No comment. This Lori Hole bag. A Lori Hole bag inside of another Lori Hole bag. Okay, so 1 whip and 3 giant starts one day. Okay, here's this bag. This is a By Annie project bag that I made a million years ago. What's in here? Oh, whoops. Don't look at that. The Mighty Oak by Kathy Barrick. I was obsessed with this the moment that I saw it on Instagram. Did I get the silk pack from my gal Olivia? But of course. Do I know where those silks live? No, because apparently the answer is not in this bag. So that's a problem. Let's see, I'm stitching it on 40 count something. 40 count Latte by Fiber on a Whim, which might be the called for, but don't quote me on that for sure. Did I already stitch my favorite part? Yes. Do I regret that? Absolutely not. So here's my little wimpy start on that one. Oh my God, look at that squirrel. Seriously? Seriously. Do you not love that thing? I just want to make this like, I don't know, practically a necklace or a brooch and just wear it. I know. Wimpy, but it'll happen. But step 1, I guess, is find the floss. Next, oh, I bought this at Color and Cotton. This is a Bags by Somebody. I'm sorry, she sells them at her shop. And I don't usually love a vinyl front because like patterns and stuff will stick, but I do love this Teresa Koga fabric, and these bags are exceptionally well made. So even if you don't like a vinyl front, you should buy one. Lisa is probably screaming the name of the bag maker at me, so sorry. And there's not a tag. But go to Color and Cotton website, she sells them on there. And this was $33, which I don't think it's a bad price for a project bag this well made. Okie doke, friends. Sorry, you're like, get on with it, lady. This is my other Proper Stitcher Designs project, which is the companion to All Is Calm. This is We Gather Together. Now that I don't hate those trees, they're not my favorite, but now that I don't hate them, I'm happy to stitch this again. And the problem with this is the printing is not great, and so, and it may have just been my copy. I'm gonna buy the PDF and put it on my iPad. I cannot, and like the colors are too similar. So like on the other one, even if the printing wasn't great, like you can tell what's red and green, as long as you're not colorblind, I guess. But like this, the colors are so similar between the oranges and the golds and the, I don't know, other colors, that if I can't read what the, I know I've stitched the wrong color in wrong places, which to a point is not the end of the world, but I'm just gonna rebuy it. And I hope you do not have this problem. So I'm stitching this on 40 count exemplar by Lakeside. And when I showed this to myself last, because obviously the other video didn't see the light of day, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I had done. So I went all the way down and I stitched this cute little pumpkin. So again, I normally would have done all of the border, but since I couldn't tell the colors and was getting frustrated, like I said, I went down to stuff that I could tell the difference on. So the other one is stitched with mainly DMC, and this one is not mainly stitched with DMC. It's like all weeks, which is fine, but just a heads up. But I love this color linen. I think it's beautiful. Very autumn. So I don't know if I'll stitch the other two in her little series. One is super patriotic, so probably not that one. And the spring one is okay. But I love the fall one. And now it has its own lovely bag. Thank you, Color and Cotton. Okay. This is a fig tree bag. I don't remember what's in here. Oh! One that I am hoping I will finish this year. This is the third in the series, Autumn. Sampler Seasons Autumn. I am making up the names for them. Also by Blueberry Ridge. So I took inspiration from her picture. I am not stitching it with what she called for. She called for 40 count Autumn Beach by Numbers 12 Stitch Co. and Weeks Dye Works Rust. So mine will look similar, but different situation. So I started this last year, and then I'll have finished 3. I do have the winter all kitted up, but I didn't want to start it until I finished the other 2. This needle looks bad, so I'm taking it out. Okay, and here we go. This is what I have so far. Decent little start. I was #mature. As I like to say now, I grew up. And I think I did the alphabet first. So I'm stitching this with the Gloriana silk. Well, with a silk. I say Gloriana, I think that might be a bib. Let's find it here. This is a 40 count light hazelnut by XJU, which again, if you have never stitched on XJU designs, like stop this video, go buy some. Oh, this is a Belle Soie, sorry, Harvest. Sorry. It's lovely. And I love Belle Soie. If I had to pick one silk to stitch with the rest of my life, well, it'd be a hard between MPI and Belle Soie, but Belle Soie would probably win. So, it's lovely, lovely to stitch with. I only bought one because I hope I only need one. If not, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I haven't finished the border, which is also unlike me. But I did do the giant pumpkins, which is like me, so no surprises there. So I love this one. I think I could get this done this year. And get it framed. And then hang it with the other 2. And then I'd be like really good on with this little series. I love a series, but I don't seem to follow through on the series. Okay, here's another one that I forget is a fall project because it's not in a fall bag. But I love this bag. Thank you, Brooke. This is Penny Pumpkin. I started this last year with my friends Brooke and Melissa at a retreat. I am not doing the pennies because you can hardly see them on this picture. And so if I can hardly see them on the picture, that's not the part that drew me to it, was the part that I could hardly see. So here's my wimpy start. It's on a blue. Wow, this is super wimpy. This is on Stonewashed by Under the Sea. So here's my sad, sad start. I think I only worked on it at the retreat. But the colors are nice, and I love the fabric. Why is it so wrinkled? Absolutely no idea. But is the blue perfection? Yes, it is. Here's my other public service announcement. If you have never stitched on a blue fabric as a neutral, stop everything. Pause this video. Go buy some blue fabric and pick something to stitch on blue. You shall not regret it. Okay, here's another bag. This is Hey Boo by Lila Boutique. All right, oh yes, there's a bag within a bag. I don't know. This is Sailor Mini Moon. Thank you, Caitlin, for making me stitches. She didn't really, but she did. Okie doke. This is one I feel I should finish this year. Should, being the opportune word. I'm doing everything Caitlin does. So she stitched something in Color and Cotton. I said, sign me up. And I went and bought the same ones. Did she tell me where she stitched the certain bits? No. Does she remember? Probably not, which is fine. So I'm just merging Michelle and Caitlin together. But I have a decent little bit done. It's on like a 30